Alrighty. Um, this is going to be for women who are reclaiming their fire, and for men who are not used to seeing that, or perhaps you are used to seeing that, and you just want to hear about this. This message has been kind of brewing in me. Um, I felt called, I feel like a couple weeks ago to talk about it, and then I kind of let it go, and it's coming back again. And I just felt like I wasn't entirely ready, but you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to dive into it, and I know that I'm going to expand on this topic as I continue my journey of reclaiming my fire and my truth and the full spectrum of the feminine. Okay. So I don't know where I'm going to go exactly with this because part of me feels like there might be a channeled message in here, but I'm also just speaking from my own experience and journey. Okay. So, for those of you that are new on this channel, you stumbled on this video, I walk on the path of truth, of fundamental truth, of integrity, of being honorable, honest, and transparent, not just with you guys, but with myself. That's been my path. When I really think about it, it's been my path always. It's been an unfolding journey, right? And I know that this is where we're headed. So, for those of you that are uncomfortable with truth, it's time to start getting comfortable because that's where we're headed. This is why everything around us is crumbling, is because it's not built on truth. Anything not built on truth crumbles. You can only hold up an illusion for so long. And that's where we're headed. So, and I've mentioned this before and it's just coming through again. Like, for those of you that, you know, are getting comfortable with truth, or that you're like, it's almost like you want to, but you're not there yet. Like, buckle up. Get ready because you're going to have to look at your stuff. You're going to have to be radically truthful with yourself because that's where we're headed, right? And the thing is, truth sets you free. And it is shadow work. And it's not easy. And this is exactly what I had to go through. And probably a lot of you watching have had to go through that, or are going through that, or will be going through that. It's part of the journey. Like, you cannot escape that. We've lived in a place, in a time where everything was masked. We even masked ourselves because we were programmed to, because we were conditioned to, because of our own survival in this society. We had to mask ourselves up. But those masks are dropping. Anyway, I know I can like continue on that, but that's not what I wanted to like talk about in this video. It's about the feminine. Because that has also been my path of really reclaiming that feminine essence in me. And the thing is, for a lot of people, feminines included, and men, you guys think that a feminine is like, she's submissive, she's nice, she's quiet, she's like this precious little animal in a box, and she stays there. And she's not allowed to express herself. If she does, if she goes out of the norms of what this boxing is, then oh my god, she's this, she's that, she's too much, she's yeah, she's too much, she's in her masculine, she's aggressive, you know, and then it goes back into the conditioning of, you know, don't say this, don't speak too loud, don't express your truths, people don't want to hear that, yada, yada, yada. Guys, that's not what the feminine is. That's not what the feminine is. The feminine is everything. Yes, she can be this beautiful, delicate, gorgeous flower. Truly, she can. But she's also the storm. She's also the fire. Oh my god. Look at Mother Nature. We call her Mother Nature for a reason. Yes, it's nice to love Mother Nature when there's not a cloud in the sky. It's sunny. It's beautiful. It's silent. The waters are calm. Yes, obviously, there's beauty in that, but there's also beauty in her truth, in her radical, fiery, magnetic truth. Because, yes, she's this one, you know, end of the spectrum, but in Mother Nature, we also experience thunderstorms, tsunamis, tornadoes, fires. Is that not Mother Nature? Is that like, is that not Mother Nature? She's all of it. And the thing is, there's actually purpose to when she is expressing herself that way. There's purpose for that. It's not like Mother Nature, you know, decides today's a good day to have a thunderstorm. So, you know, we're just gonna make people's lives and everybody, all beings' lives miserable because why not? No, there's purpose to her being that way. And this is the same with an embodied feminine. She's not going to just be palatable. She's not. What I'm becoming to understand walking this path is the feminine is truth, especially feminines that are operating from their heart space. She becomes an undeniable light of truth. And sometimes truth bites. Sometimes truth is not easy to hear. Which is why, like, sometimes for me, when I'm speaking with my fire, and I honor that, truly, I've been on a path of just honoring what comes through me. And sometimes it does come through in a harsh, like, fiery, intense way. And that that's the same thing of like when sometimes there needs to be like forest fires or whatever, right? Because it's actually a beneficial thing, by the way. um or, you know, there's some sort of like environmental destruction or whatever, there's sometimes that is needed, that's needed to get through the distortion. Because if everything was wrapped up in a beautiful bow and packaged, and here's your truth, sometimes it doesn't cut through the distortion. It just kind of sits there. And people can't, like, people are like, okay. That's why sometimes that intensity, that fire is needed. And women, for you guys who are reclaiming that, don't back down from that. Don't back down from your own fire, from your own intensity. If you see there's distortion somewhere, say it. Name it. you are seeing truth. And sometimes when we see that truth and it's not how do I want to say this? It's not like like you get a reaction from it. There's a reason for that. That's because it's injustice. You're feeling basically the distortions within it, and that fire is supposed to alchemize it, right? And I'll tell you this. So again, like, women, for you coming into this, I'm on that path with you. It's not easy. It's not easy because we're fighting our own programming and conditioning from generations, from our ancestors who were tapping into that and they were silenced, they were exiled, they were belittled, they were mistreated, they were called crazy, they were rejected sometimes by their own family. So I want you to know that and men know this too. It's time to start knowing about this as well. There's a deep conditioning, deep programming running unconsciously through every single woman, where she is told to be quiet, to stay little, to not say too much, to always smile and be pleasant for everyone. But that's not what a feminine is. Not in her full spectrum, at least. Like I said, that's a part of it. We can be that way. We can be so loving, so sensual, so nurturing. But we also have a very protective and wild side to us. And that whole when both spectrums are honored, oh my god, ladies, you become so magnetic because you're no longer denying the aspects within yourself. And I don't mean that you go and you fight people, obviously not, right? But when you speak with truth and with like your sort of discernment, that sometimes can really cut people. Truly, I know. I know because I'm walking that path and I see it myself. But the thing is, your body feels truth. And if your body is reacting a certain way about something, you gotta honor it. You gotta say it. And yes, sometimes that truth leaves people like, oh, speechless. That's because you're actually causing them to question their own programming, their own conditions, their own belief systems. And yeah, guys, come on, this is an uncomfortable thing. It's the same thing when you do shadow work. It's not comfortable to look at the truth inside of you, of every time you've acted small, of every time you've silenced yourself, of every time that you've diluted yourself, or like there's so many things, right? It's not, I've done this process. It's not easy. It's very confronting, but it's confronting for a reason. It's confronting so that you can change. Sometimes things need to be said in a very direct way. And that's not aggressive, it's direct, where it shakes you up, wakes you up, and makes you question your own conditioning, where you are keeping yourself boxed in, where you are also seeing women a certain way. Because let me tell you this. So I know I'm not the only one walking this path of reclaiming my voice, my expression, my full spectrum of my feminine essence. There's other women out there as well. And one of them I follow, and it's really interesting because, like, I'll tell you this, I'm even learning to dance with that fire because um this one girl that I follow, that she's also on this path, she was I don't know if I want to say triggered, not triggered, sorry, activated by something, by an injustice that in her body did not sit well. And she made a video that was very like intense, cut through distortion, like just. And funny thing is, I agreed with her. But you know what's interesting? There was a part of me still, that conditioned part of me, that wanted to tell her to shush. That wanted to tell her to be quiet, to not be so polarizing. That still came up in me. I didn't. It would have been easy to leave her a comment like, who do you think you are? Blah, 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 whatever, right? Would have been easy. But I didn't. I didn't because the funny thing is, I agreed with her. And it was really interesting to me that I saw that conditioning, that programming come up in me where I wanted to box her in, put her in her place of being quiet or of presenting it in a very beautiful, flowery, soft way. But that would have watered her down. If she would have done that, she would have watered herself down. She would have been playing in that same box of, I need to be nice, I need to be loving and sweet and like submissive and blah blah blah. She would have been playing in that same box. We're not here to play in that same box. We're not here, like, ladies and men, we're coming into a different time now. Like I said, truth is rising up. Masks are dropping. It's going to be happening more and more, which is why there are so many women now who are walking away from anything that is no longer true in their lives, meaning relationships, careers, friends, anything that doesn't resonate with them anymore. They are having the bravery of walking away. And yes, I know that there are men in this group as well, but again, I'm a feminine, I'm in a woman's body, I am seeing this in the feminine collective, so I am going to speak to that. Okay, it's who I am and it's my experience, right? If you guys have a different experience, especially for the males, I've mentioned this in one of my videos. It's like, if you guys are walking that path, start talking about this. Because there are men who are also looking for this information. And I've said before, I can tap into that consciousness, but ultimately my experience is of what I am in this feminine body, and also just the feminine collective that I tap into and I'm connected with, right? But yeah, we're walking away from anything that is an illusion. We're walking away from that, and then we're doing our inner work of unlayering ourselves, of healing, of reclaiming what was lost throughout the ages, of reclaiming everything that our ancestors couldn't, because again, they were called witches, they were burned, women were burned because they were connected to the earth, because they knew how to heal people, because they were connected to the unseen, because they spoke truth in the face of injustice. That still lives within us. Guys, even when I tap into my own intensity, and I really do allow myself, there are times where I'll look back and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so intense. I don't know. and then like I kind of want to back away from that. And it's interesting, that program part of me wants to hide and go small and like not be seen, because I know that in my family line, I actually know this, that in my mother's line, like, there is something about the throat. thankfully, like, I it's interesting. I haven't actually done it in a while, probably because I am stepping more into my truth. But yeah, there was something about the, which is why actually a lot of women have thyroid problems because they're not speaking their truth. They're not being their full expressive self, their full spectrum of what they are. Because I've mentioned this and I'll mention this again. We're not just these beautiful, sweet, delicate flowers. Yes, we are, but we're also the fire. We're also the tsunami. We're also the I don't know what other word I want to use, but like that intensity. We're also that. We also have this wild side to us. And that is what a lot of men, not the healed ones, okay? I know healed men are actually drawn to this. But the unhealed men, they're scared of that wildness. They're scared of that intensity. They're scared of women tapping into the unseen and cutting through distortion because it calls them out. And they're scared of that. This is why a lot of women were always boxed in, they were silenced. It was to control that side of us. But guess what? That's waking up currently. That's waking up. That dormant part of us is waking up. Which is why I've said, and I've said this multiple times, women are leading the way in this. And for the men who are healed, who honor that part of us, which is honestly also a part of yourself, thank you. Truly. You're also doing the work of allowing women to fully come into themselves and realizing that there's nothing to be scared of when a woman is her full spectrum of herself, of coming online and speaking truth with intensity. And sometimes with softness. It really depends how the energy wants to come through. But I'm telling you, ladies, for those of you who are tuning into yourselves, you'll know what I mean, that sometimes the energy wants to come out as this beautiful, like I said, delicate flower, and sometimes it wants to come and destroy the whole forest. But it doesn't mean you actually want to destroy. It just means like sometimes the energy comes through in a very sharp, direct way. And again, ladies who are on this path, you know this. You know what I'm talking about. And I have spoken to some women who are, they're still in that sandbox of being liked, being nice, of playing small. And I can tell because I've spoken to some of them, they're wanting to come into that fire. They're wanting to explore this other side of themselves that for so long they've been told to shut down, keep small, and ultimately you are cutting yourself off from that life force energy. Ladies, when you start tapping into this, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you become so magnetic. You become so, you're like, what? This fire exists in me? And by the way, this fire also translate, it doesn't just mean like cutting through distortion and speaking truth. It also translates to like creation, creating whatever it is that you're creating, and you fuel that creation with that fire, and it's like, oh my god, it's so beautiful, like truly, like I'm tapping into it now and see how it's getting expressed right now. It's not I know I was like that a little bit throughout here, but do you see how the energy is constantly in motion, and how I can take that like that fire in me, and it comes out in a very like, I don't know, like playful, fun way, right? So it's like a mixture of, I guess you could say, the energies of that sensuality. I'm still exploring this, guys. I'm still learning about it because it wasn't that very long ago where I still would keep myself small. I would still be boxed in, and it's so draining. It's so draining because it's not who you truly are. Ladies, you are the full spectrum. You're all of it. And I feel like, I know, like I said, I know there's some of us that are reclaiming it, but for those of you that are not, start playing with it. Start discovering it, because you're going to start tapping into a whole different side of you, and that's where that magnetism will start coming from, and you're just going to, you become powerful. You become so powerful. And ladies, you are reclaiming that back. Do not allow people to make you feel bad when you do operate from your fire. You will. You'll come across them. I have as well. And I'm still learning to accept it. I'm still learning to be like, whatever, I don't care. You know? Anyway, I do feel like there is a channeled message about this, but I'm not going to get into it this here. Maybe another time, but I just feel like this needed to be said, just so that we can start understanding, like, it's okay to see a woman in her fire, in her intensity. She's still very beautiful when she operates from that. Especially a woman connected to her heart and connected to truth. Alrighty, guys, love you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.